Wowza! Alien Earth just keeps on chugging along. Let's dig into what exactly went down in this short but filled to the brim penultimate episode. After a typically badass opening title/recap, the episode starts with Slightly in his bedroom, contending with the literal monster under his bed, Arthur with the facehugger, which Slightly was somehow able to transport from the lab to his room without any interference. Poor dude has no idea what he's gotten himself into, as seen when he tries and fails to give Arthur a drink. Then Smee shows up, barges on in, and suddenly we've got a team up between two children in robot bodies who happen to both be way over their heads. Meanwhile, Kersh gazes upon the results of letting a child into the lab. One notable detail is that we see Kersh had full control over the doors from his little tablet, meaning he could have saved Isaac but seemingly chose not to. However, we don't actually see Kersh watching during the last episode's tragic death, so this might just be an insignificant detail showcasing more that Kersh has control over the environment rather than that he's been decisively negligent. Of course, we do also see him later aid in Smee and Slightly's escape with Arthur, so it's possible that we're just not quite where we need to be in terms of understanding his grand plan. Boy Cavalier shows up and is a callous dick. Notably, he doesn't recognize Isaac's chosen name and isn't terribly concerned with his death outside of the $6 billion lost. Even that is barely a concern, especially when he sees that T. Ocelus was apparently behind the incident, and so he has it moved to his office, because dude is stoked to finally have an intelligent being to converse with. Something that will definitely not go wrong, by the way. Nope, no siree, nothing catastrophic waiting to happen here. Wendy, meanwhile, takes Isaac's death poorly.
No, we can't. We're premium.
Don't.
When she leaves in a huff, Kersh discovers that the trackers have been disabled. Joe snags Wendy to get her off the island, but she insists they first tell the others. In Nib's room, Curly is antagonistic toward Wendy, and while Nibs is quick to go, Curly stays behind and promises not to tell. Then, on the way out, Wendy pulls out her hacking skills and unlocks the freaking Xenomorph's containment unit, which Joe doesn't notice. This is our first instance of Wendy being very openly contemptuous toward human life, though it won't be the last time this episode. Anyway, the Xeno kills seemingly everyone in the lab, creating a great distraction for both parties attempting to escape Neverland. Two things to note here. One is that the female scientist appears to escape, although I'm willing to bet we won't find out whether that's the case or not. Secondly, it looks like a scene was cut here, as we seem to teleport from Nib's room to Slightly's, as you can see thanks to these cricket pads on the wall. Anyway, Dame Sylvia has Boy Cavalier accusing her of helping Arthur with the hybrid's escape. That scene is interrupted by an alarm announcing a secure lab breach, and we later learn that the Xenomorph has escaped through a waste pipe. While that commotion is going on, Slightly and Smee smuggle Arthur out with the aid of Kersh, who reveals he knows all about Morrow's plan and shows them the fastest way to get to the beach. Again, this showcases that Kersh is acting strategically, although to what end is still up in the air. Sure, he's got Morrow, but what else is he planning? He could just be doing what's best for Prodigy, but something tells me there's more to his actions than meets the eye. While that's happening, Joe, Wendy, and Nibs stumble upon the graves of the children, which seem to reveal two things. That they really were killed in the process, and that Joe and Marcy's actual surname is Hermit. And here I was thinking it was Joe's call sign or something, but nope.
It's not us. We're still here.
I don't think I am anymore.
While Slightly and Smee hide from a passing patrol, we see a Prodigy soldier with a gun similar to the M56 smart gun used in Aliens. You know, the one that was made using a Steadicam arm. So that's neat. Oh, and Arthur's awake, so you know what that means. The clock's ticking.
I think you maybe saved my life.
Eventually, Arthur regains some sense of what's going on and points out that Slightly and Smee are very obviously lying to him. Just as he convinces them to go back to Neverland with him, boom, it's chestburster time. This is a pretty somber death, as Arthur really showcases in this scene how much of a great father he would have been had he been able to have children. It's also, of course, a spot of dramatic irony that he, someone desperate to be a father, would give birth, as it were, to a xenomorph. Also, I was very wrong about this shot in my trailer analysis. I assumed the lack of blood meant that the chest burster hadn't popped out yet. Instead, it's sort of a continuity error within the episode. Despite a really violent, bloody death, Arthur's demise doesn't leave much in the way of bloody evidence. I don't know, seems weird that the chest burster itself doesn't leave a trail, and that Arthur just kind of stops bleeding once it's out. Maybe I just really love blood. Then Curly shows up in Dame Sylvia's room to possibly confess about Wendy and Nibs leaving with Joe, though all we see is her breaking down over the rapidly disintegrating refuge that is Neverland. This scene really showcases the fact that Curly still has the mind of a child, despite her seeming maturity versus that of some of the other hybrids. She's still just a little girl that needs her mom. Meanwhile, Slightly and Smee meet up with Morrow, and hey, how long did it take them to build this raft? That's some quality craftsmanship for two dudes on a tight schedule. Anyway, Morrow and his team make landfall with a separate team arriving elsewhere on the island. Unfortunately, Morrow's initial plan has gone to shit, and so he moves on to plan B and takes the kids with him. Adam Ines suggests to Boy Cavalier that bringing T. Ocelus into his office is maybe a bad idea, but Cavalier is too busy being amazed by the thing's intelligence. In what could be considered a jumping the shark moment, he asks T. Ocelus to communicate 2 digits of pi, which it does by stomping out the numbers. It also seems to have a sense of humor, as once it's tired of Cavalier's questioning, it just takes a dump in response. Classic T. Ocelus. Then Cavalier suggests they find a human host for the alien, which might be the most callous moment he's had on screen yet. He even suggests one of the mold scrubbers got the job before realizing, but not disclosing, who would be the perfect host. I'm going to go ahead and suggest it's probably Dame Sylvia, but it could also be Joe, given the scene immediately cuts to the forest where Joe, Wendy, and Nibs are walking toward the docks. Speaking of which, they're discovered by Morrow's B team, who are immediately taken out by the Xeno that Wendy let escape from the lab. It's here we get confirmation that she is indeed communicating with the xenomorph and not merely mimicking it. She sort of showed this when she was in the lab and saw Toodle's body, but this really confirms it. Whether or not she can really properly speak its language is still up in the air, but she does say that she told it to hide and follow, which it does. Morrow and his team infiltrate Neverland, but they're immediately taken down by Kersh and his men, who have also captured the rogue chestburster, which might be the most unlikely thing to happen in the show so far. That little sucker escaped into the brush of a massive island, and yet Kersh's men were able to find it in record time. It's not explained how he managed this incredible feat, but I guess it's neither here nor there. It happened. Moving on.
Nobody likes a sore loser.
At the dock, it seems like our trio of escapees are good to go, but they're ambushed by Prodigy soldiers led by Joe's former teammates.
Mr. Strawberry says, fuck off.
Things immediately go awry. Nibs straight rips off a dude's jaw before getting blasted with an electrical beam by Joe. It's an intense moment, which the Xeno watches from the forest as Wendy screams at Joe, potentially ruining their sibling bond.
What did you do?
And that's the end of the episode, leaving us with just one more to go in Season 1 of Alien Earth. Props to Slightly actor Adarsh Gurav, who does a phenomenal job approximating a child's mind in an adult body. I'd also like to give props to the effects team, who do an awesome job with the more gruesome moments in this episode. Overall, this was an enjoyable enough appetizer for the finale, but one filled with odd little flaws. It's got a lot of the stupidity that critics have accused the show of, with questionable shit like the soldiers doing nothing while Nibs rips that dude's jaw off, Kersh's team easily tracking down a chestburster, or Morrow's team just walking into Kersh's trap. Even the pie thing feels a bit suspect, though I suppose you could write it off as the T. Ocelus gaining the knowledge of its hosts.
Stop.
Any which way you cut it though, I had fun, and I'm excited to see what the conclusion has in store for us. And hey, let me know in the comments what you thought of the episode. That'd be super swell. Bye now.